Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nicodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. on Thursday, June 29th, 2023. And welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter, where we have no sponsors, no hidden agendas, and no BS. But we do have the news, so let's get to that. Coinbase is famously embroiled in a legal dispute with the US SEC. The exchange recently submitted a motion to dismiss the SEC's complaint. They assert that even if all of the allegations in the lawsuit are true, the SEC does not have a valid legal claim. Now, the SEC alleges that Coinbase facilitated unregistered trading activities involving 12 digital tokens, which the commission deems to be securities. However, Coinbase disputes these allegations. They're arguing that the SEC applied securities regulations in a manner that deviates significantly from established legal frameworks. Paul Grewal is Coinbase's chief legal officer. He took to Twitter on June 29th to denounce the SEC's claims as surpassing the boundaries of existing legislation. And so, Coinbase is advocating for the complete dismissal of those claims. The SEC's definition of securities includes investment contracts. The Supreme Court has interpreted investment contracts as transactions where individuals invest money in a joint venture, and they're doing so with the expectation of profiting from the efforts of others. That's the Howey test. In their lawsuit, the SEC designates 12 crypto tokens, including Solana, Cardano, and Polygon, as securities. The company's legal representatives argued that the SEC's approval of the exchange's registration statement in 2021 that allowed the company to offer its shares to investors during its public debut. This endorsement followed a meticulous review process spanning several months, involving comprehensive consultations between Coinbase and the Commission. And the SEC approved their business. Consequently, Coinbase was granted the ability to facilitate the trading of over 240 tokens on its spot exchange, including 6 of the 12 currently disputed tokens. In its first legal response to the SEC's lawsuit, Coinbase claimed that the digital assets listed on its platform fall outside the SEC's purview. The exchange argued that these cryptocurrencies are not investment contracts, therefore they should not be classified as securities. Coinbase further explained that the cryptocurrencies traded on its secondary market platform do not involve any arrangement where a promoter sells an asset tied to a contract, again pointing to the Supreme Court's Howey case as an example. Coinbase also highlighted that the issuers of those tokens hold no obligations toward investors. Their secondary market exchange transactions also do not carry any such obligations. The value lies in the actual assets bought and sold. Based on that, Coinbase asserts that these transactions should not be classified as securities transactions. Coinbase voluntarily complied with regulations imposed by various regulatory bodies over the years. The company has adhered to the limited guidance provided by the SEC, senior SEC staff, and the courts, seeking clarity on how securities laws are applicable to the digital asset industry. Coinbase argued the SEC's actions reflect an undisclosed change in its own view of its authority, as it has chosen enforcement actions over rulemaking. The remainder of the filing presents a detailed rebuttal to each point raised in the SEC's lawsuit. Additionally, in a separate filing, Coinbase alleged that its due process rights were violated during the SEC's lawsuit proceedings. The company raised concerns the lawsuit might violate the major questions doctrine. Coinbase has requested the judge's permission to file for judgment. They proposed a 7-week schedule for this motion. That would include the SEC's opposition and its own response to that opposition. In light of these circumstances, Coinbase's unwavering resolve to contest the SEC's lawsuit underscores its commitment to facing regulatory challenges head-on as they advocate for a fair and cohesive legal landscape within the cryptocurrency industry. Before we dive into our next story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our podcast, and follow us for more crypto news. Now, let's cross the Atlantic and see what's happening with the digital euro in the European Union. The EU's central bank is considering further steps toward creating a digital euro later this year. However, it is not expected that a central bank digital currency will be widely used in the near future. ECB President Christine Lagarde has indicated that a decision on the digital euro will be made by the end of October. Despite this, she has also stated that widespread adoption of a digital euro is not expected in the near term. Lagarde described the bank's approach to the CBDC as accelerated, but emphasized that a final decision has not yet been made. After the Governing Council meeting in October, there will be additional piloting, experimentation, and fine-tuning phases. This is to ensure that it's done correctly when the time comes to implement the digital euro. The focus of Lagarde's comments was on preserving the value of the euro. She highlighted the importance of maintaining the sovereignty of the currency. Quote, "You've got to be ready. You want to keep the sovereignty of your currency." Earlier this year, the EU introduced a broad legislative framework for digital assets known as the Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation, or MiCA. This legislation was partly in response to the Libra Diem stablecoin project. Lagarde characterized this move as a response to European citizens' desires and a means to protect the euro's value. The Federal Reserve in the United States and the Bank of England have also explored the possibility of implementing central bank digital currencies. However, leaders at the Fed have cautioned that a decision on a digital dollar is still years away. They have also raised concerns about privacy and the potential risks to the financial sector. At that same forum where Lagarde made her comments, Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey spoke about the wholesale digital money. In this case, that means bank transfers between financial institutions using digital currency. He said that institutional CBDCs could revolutionize infrastructure, financial markets, and trade finance. The New York Fed has also experimented with wholesale payments using digital currencies on private blockchains. Additionally, the Fed plans to launch a real-time payments network using more traditional payment methods in July. And I'm considering doing a separate piece on FedNow in the next few days. Hit me up in the comments if you want to hear something on that. So in addition to considering a digital euro by October, they're considering what technologies should power such a thing. Part of the piloting and experimentation phases I mentioned earlier. So, starting in 2024, the European Central Bank will begin exploratory work on financial market settlements based on distributed ledger technology. The bank is looking at how it can innovate in settling transactions between financial institutions for securities or foreign exchange. Now, just a few days ago, they were saying not to be surprised if digital ledger is not the tech selected to back a digital euro, which should scare my European listeners. The ECB clarified that the start of this exploratory work is envisioned for 2024. This will involve testing the use of central bank money in both real and mock wholesale transactions. These explorations will be limited in capacity and time and will take place based on existing rules. This includes a new pilot regulation passed by the EU last year, which temporarily relaxes financial market infrastructure requirements for securities traded using DLT. Now, from the digital euro to digital tax relief, let's now head east to Slovakia, where lawmakers have made a significant move towards crypto-friendly regulations. Slovakia's lawmakers have voted overwhelmingly in favor of a law designed to reduce taxes on the sale of digital currencies. The income tax bill was passed with a 112-2 vote. It aims to ease the tax burden associated with the sale of virtual currencies, thereby facilitating their everyday use. Reasonable, because if you have to pay 30% tax to turn your Bitcoin into fiat to buy a cup of coffee, you're probably not going to do it. The bill proposes a tax rate of 7% on income from the sale of virtual currency, provided it has been held for more than a year. For cryptocurrencies held for shorter periods, the income would be taxed along with other taxable income. This is a significant decrease from the current sliding scale taxation of either 19 or 25%. Moreover, payments received in cryptocurrencies up to 2,400 euros will not be taxed. Furthermore, the bill also excludes crypto income from a 14% health insurance contribution. The Ministry of Finance in Slovakia anticipates that this amendment will have the financial impact of around 30 million euros per year. We were talking about Slovakia recently in another context, because this amendment follows another one passed a few weeks prior. That codified the citizens' right to use cash as a payment method amidst discussions around that digital euro we were talking about. As members of the European Union, countries like Slovakia have the autonomy to set their own tax rules for crypto, providing an opportunity to boost crypto popularity. For instance, Portugal's tax breaks significantly attracted the crypto sector, although the ministers announced a reversal of this favorable treatment last year. The recent developments in Slovakia's crypto tax laws are indicative of a broader trend toward crypto-friendly regulations in the European Union. The EU has been actively monitoring developments in the crypto industry across the region. On May 31st, the EU signed its landmark Markets in Crypto Assets Regulations into law. First introduced in 2020, the MiCA regulations have been lauded by companies in the space for providing regulatory clarity, contrasting with other major markets like the United States and the UK, because the US has not implemented comprehensive guidelines for the industry. Slovakia's move to lower crypto taxes is a significant step toward creating a crypto-friendly environment. It not only simplifies the use of digital currencies in everyday life, but also potentially boosts the popularity of crypto in the country. However, it remains to be seen how these changes will affect the broader crypto market and whether other countries will follow suit. If you are enjoying our podcast, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, follow us, and hit that subscribe button. Now, let's shift gears and talk about Binance and how they face a series of regulatory challenges. Binance has been hit with one regulatory challenge after another. Germany's Federal Financial Supervisory Authority, or BaFin, has declined to grant Binance a custody license. At this point, it remains unclear whether it was a formal decision or an intention expressed during ongoing discussions. The source of this information is Finance Forward, and they're reporting that Binance is actively working to meet BaFin's requirements, a process that is both meticulous and ongoing. And CZ has got to be chugging antacid like drinking water, because Binance has been having a rough time of it of lately, and I think it's pretty clear that this is both coordinated and intentional. As we've covered these last weeks, Binance has withdrawn its application for regulatory approval in Austria. They've given up their registration with Cyprus's security regulator. They've also decided to cease operations in the Netherlands after an unsuccessful attempt at registration. In Brazil, the director of finance was summoned to appear before Parliament as part of an ongoing investigation into alleged pyramid schemes in the country. In Australia, the local Binance branch faced a sudden disconnection from the country's banking system without any prior notice or consultation. In France, Binance is under investigation by the AMF for, quote, aggressive money laundering. Binance has been directed to suspend operations in Belgium, while simultaneously facing allegations from the US SEC for allegedly operating an unregistered trading platform. And if there is some coordination to these events, I would guess the SEC is at the heart of it, but that's just my guess. Now, despite these setbacks, Binance says it's committed to working with regulators globally. The company is actively aligning its operations with the EU's forthcoming MiCA regulation. This new regulation will allow crypto firms to operate across the single market once they've obtained the regulatory approval in one of the member states. And that's likely to be part of their strategy. But Binance said that it remains dedicated to fully complying with these new EU crypto asset rules. In another development, Binance informed its users that its current banking partner for Euro transactions, PaySafe Payment Solutions, will no longer support their services starting September 2023. Binance plans to switch to a new service provider for Euro deposits and withdrawals via SEPA bank transfers, although the identity of the new provider has not yet been disclosed. Users will be required to update their banking information for deposits to their Binance accounts. They may need to agree to new terms and conditions to continue using SEPA services after the specified date. Binance assures customers that all existing methods of depositing, withdrawing fiat currencies, and trading cryptocurrencies on Binance.com will remain unaffected. Binance clarified this announcement regarding Euro payments is unrelated to their recent exit from several European countries. From regulatory challenges to strategic planning, let's now move to Canada, where lawmakers are urging the government to establish a national strategy for blockchain. A group of Canadian lawmakers is urging the government to establish a national strategy for blockchain. This strategy would clarify the country's regulatory stance and show its support for the industry, as per policy recommendations released in June. The House of Commons Standing Committee on Industry and Technology made the first of 16 recommendations, urging the government to acknowledge the significant potential of the blockchain industry for long-term economic growth and job creation. Following a government-ordered study on blockchain technology, the committee's report recommended that future digital asset policies should prioritize protecting individuals' rights to self-custody. It also emphasized that easy access to safe and reliable entry and exit points should be defended and promoted. The Committee of Lawmakers also wants the Canadian government to establish a unique regulatory framework for stablecoins, distinguishing them from other crypto assets. This would be similar to the EU's MiCA, which categorizes stablecoins as a distinct asset class. The committee made other recommendations, such as establishing regulations for crypto custody platforms, creating measures to allow blockchain companies to access banking services, and ensuring the fair taxation of crypto mining activities. The committee's report highlighted the importance of government and industry collaboration to better understand this rapidly evolving sector. It emphasized the need for regulations that protect consumers without unnecessarily stifling innovation. This report acknowledged Canada's robust regulatory safeguards, such as provincial securities regulation and federal anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing obligations. So what happened? We started off with Coinbase's bold move to dismiss the SEC's lawsuit, standing firm in their belief that the digital assets listed on their platform fall outside the SEC's purview. Then we took a look at the European Union's progress toward a digital euro, with ECB President Christine Lagarde indicating that a decision will be made by the end of October. We also discussed Slovakia's significant step toward crypto-friendly regulations, reducing taxes on the sale of digital currencies to ease the tax burden for crypto holders. Meanwhile, Binance continues to face regulatory challenges across the globe, but remains committed to achieving full compliance with the EU's forthcoming MiCA regulation. Finally, we ended with Canada, where lawmakers are urging the government to establish a national blockchain strategy, emphasizing the significant potential of the blockchain industry for the long-term economic growth and job creation. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating, or maybe a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.